Truth Man here. The channel is the No Matrix, No Simping, All Subjects channel. No Matrix, No Simping, All Subjects channel. Now, simping comes in many forms, and there's many things that cause one to be trapped or appear to be trapped in what we call the Matrix. One of the things is what I want to talk about on this video, which I entitled False Teachings in the Christian Faith that did a lot of damage that ain't even the truth. False teaching that did a lot of damage that ain't even the truth. Now, it's a lot of stuff that I could go into with this, but I'm just going to try to stay on the surface with it, just to kind of help you. Because a lot of, like, Christianity, the one reason why the Christian church is suffering is because people over time start noticing that them dudes just talking and there ain't nothing happening with this. And a lot of things that people heard preachers say over time did damage between their relationship with the Most High. But I want to tell you that nothing should do damage with your relationship with the Most High. For one, you can't beat them. For two, is you got to do your own study, a study to show yourself approved. Because when you don't, these kind of things happen, and now you a person that ain't no such thing as backsliding, but you just ain't really walking in your faith like you could. You ain't sliding back, you just at a standstill in your faith, and you not growing because you let preachers and fake people who don't know what the heck they talking about do damage on your spiritual life and your spiritual journey. So let's start. Number one is tithing. That tithing teaching, think about it, man. A lot of y'all that been in the church 20 or 30 years. Think about how much you done paid into the church. Some of y'all churches is still the same, ain't grew, ain't did nothing significant. And you've been tithing for over 20 years. Now imagine, look at what you have gotten without loan. Without loan. Let's look at just your growth with your money. And some of y'all, you've been tithing your whole life and you still check to check. Now I'm finna show you something. If that teaching was true, how honest and forthright and reliable the Most High is, you would have been rich by now, just from your 10%. The reason why you not rich is because it just ain't true. They weren't even tithing money. They were tithing seed, grain, livestock, and the storehouse is a barn. It's a barn. It's not a church. It was a barn. So what they were doing is they were bringing it, and the pastors were distributing what they brought. Now I'm finna show you something. This is deep. They were distributing what they brought to the church, to the people in need, right? He said, if I will not open up the windows of heaven and pour you out a blessing, that there will not be room to receive. Now, one of the things he was talking about with that is, if you read the book of Enoch, you know that rain comes through portals or / windows in heaven. They pour it through there. They pour it through there, and by the time it reaches the earth, it's rain. That's what the book of Enoch teaches. And rain is what makes the crops grow. And when the crops grow, think about it. You got a whole field of potatoes. You ain't gonna have room for all them potatoes. Why you think farms be distributed all over the country? because the seeds that they plant, it be so many potatoes. Like they'll get, like let's say a potato farmer, plant like 100,000 seeds, and all them potatoes will come up. 100,000 potatoes, 10 or million potatoes or whatever, and then they just distribute them, and they end up all in the grocery stores everywhere. That's what he was talking about, man. Remember, and then he had a scripture where he said, "You tithe of cumin," and some other stuff he named. He said, "But you have omitted the weightier matters of the law." So he said that tithing, that wasn't even the most important thing. Mercy, justice, and faith. See? And that's what a lot of people do. They'll tithe, but then they won't be merciful. They won't be doing what's right, and they don't have no faith. Remember, part of us, the greatest law, the greatest commandment of them all, is for us to love the Most High with all our heart, all our mind, all our soul, and all our strength. That requires faith. But all people think they got to do to be doing right is tithe. And tithing ain't even that important, nor was it money. So a lot of people that's been tithing and being told, even singing songs, "Give and I give it back to you." I spent many years in these churches, man. I know. It's pressed down, shaken together, running over. No. You know what that's like? Okay, let's say you make $20 an hour. Finna show you. And you work 80 hours. That's what? You're grossing $1,600. Wait, 20 times 40. Yep, $1,600. And when you get your check is $1,300. You give $130, 2 checks, that's $260. If it was pressed down, running over, how much money does it take to run over? See? I'm telling you. Y'all ain't got money like that, man. Y'all don't. Y'all don't. You say, "Well, I got my college degree, I got a good job." Yep, and so did the atheist that you work right next to. Got her same college degree, same job, with no faith. That tithing stuff is false. If you want to give 10%, then your only way, first of all, you don't give to receive. Secondly, the only way you getting anything out of giving 10% is if that's just how much you decide to give, knowing that you don't have to. Y'all see that? That's the fact. That's the fact. The next thing is damaging. Doing damage in the church is the submission scriptures out of context. There are people out there that take Ephesians or Ephesians, I think that's chapter 4, verse 37. It might be, I might have the verse mixed up. I'm driving. Where it says, "Submit yourselves one to another." No, that's not talking about in a marriage. That's talking about the group as a whole. Not talking about marriage. It's not. Can a king submit to his queen and still be the king? He can't. Impossible. If a king submits to a queen, then he has become a queen. So that scripture is why a lot of these women do not be listening to, submitting, obeying their husbands. Well, it also say we got to submit, and this is what I was told too. She tried to misquote that with me, but the thing about me is I know that word. You can't. The one thing about me, one thing I got is the ability to go and seek out the Most High and get the truth on any scripture, any subject. And another thing I have is a strong understanding of the word of the Bible. So you can't just come to me with any old belief and I just be like agreeing with you. I'm about as sound as they come, if not the most sound, when it comes to that understanding that scripture and putting it line upon line, precept upon precept. One thing, another thing, we said tithing, and like I say, the next thing is people not understanding what those submission scriptures mean. This is why you got to know how to put in line upon line. Because if you know how to put in line upon line, you know that the Most High himself said that men shall have rule over you, being women. It wasn't up for negotiation. Anything he say is not up for negotiation. I don't care what the world believes. One reason why I'm telling you the church is off base. It's off base. The next scripture that is doing damage is that turn the other cheek. Turn the other cheek. You can't find that nowhere else. And everywhere else it says an eye for an eye. And the Most High himself, it's obvious it's an eye for an eye because he has people in hell right now. So remember, he said, my thoughts are not as your thoughts. He said his ways are not as our ways. He said that he's greater than us, and he is. So if he sends people into eternity lost, to be punished, to be tormented, then why would he tell you to turn the other cheek? Why? That was a figure of speech. Look at the context of what he was saying. What he was basically saying was, when something happened to you, don't always seek revenge. He's saying, but to be honest with you, okay, watch this. He told Peter, you live by the sword, you're going to die by the sword. So he was basically telling Peter that you have to know when to fight. Line upon line, the book of Ecclesiastes says a time for everything under the sun. And it says in the list, a time to fight. So what he basically was saying in context when he told them that was, it's going to be situations where it don't make, like when they, like, I ain't gonna lie, the mark of the beast time come, I'm fighting until I get subdued. And then once I know they just gonna get rid of me anyway, why would I fight? I'ma just probably roast them and stuff like that. They slap me up, that's probably when I'm gonna turn the other cheek. Like, man, you hit like a girl. They don't bust my mouth open and I'm gonna be laughing with blood all in my mouth. Yeah, that's all you got. That's all you got, man. I'm gonna be like, Steve, I see him. There he is. Ah, they gonna really get me then. Now, so that scripture is definitely out of context. It's turning men into cowards. It's keeping men from protecting their homes when they trying to be spiritual. No. I'll really get active on you. I will really get active on you. if something about it, man, let's say I work in corrections, right? Not right now, but I have, and I probably will again. Some dude had the audacity to come and try to shoot my house up. I'm coming out the side. Flick, 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 flick. Yes, sir. My life is going to end only if the Most High wanted to end. Not you. This turns men into mice. This takes away men's manhood. All he was saying is, look, don't be relying on fighting. Don't be going back and forth with these people. But in context, it's going to be a time for everything. It's going to be a time where you got to fight back. There's a lot of people dead right now because of this misunderstanding of this scripture. All they had to do was fight back and they would have survived. This Christian girl that done got raped and refused to fight back, and the psychotic buzzard deleted them. You gotta try to stay alive, man. That scripture's out of context. That's why you don't see it too many places in that Bible. You say, the Bible say, let vengeance be mine. I kind of got to agree with the gospel gangsters. He said, whatever the angels don't stop, the 45 will get them. And then, yes, sir, I do got one of them. And trust me, you don't want to get hit by them big bullets. You just might not make it. But of course, I'm not going to live by my 45. I'm not. But at the same time, I'm not going to let you take my life. So that's another scripture. People be getting literally ridiculed, becoming sick because of their jobs, trying to take the high road, thinking that they can't say nothing back, can't do nothing back. It's a time and place for everything. Just know your time and place. You got to know your time and place. Some of y'all just take stuff off of everybody because you don't understand that scripture. You are a man. Stand on your wife. Your wife ain't supposed to be running nothing. You trying to turn the other cheek thinking you obeying the scripture. Show me that. Give me 2 more witnesses to tell you to turn the other cheek. That's out of context, man. He was preaching. He was proving a point. You got to read the lead up to that. That's y'all problem. Y'all don't read the lead up. You a man. Ain't nobody supposed to be emasculating you. If a dude just come up to you and just start punching you in your face, he's emasculating you. You're supposed to fight back. And if you win, you lose, whatever, you fight back. There's people that won't even teach their kids how to fight. I'm telling you as a prophet, man, you don't let nobody bully your kids. Teach your kids how to fight if you know how. And if you don't, put them somewhere around somebody and pay for them to learn how to fight. Exercise these demons. I'm trying to hear that. I ain't trying to hear it. That's another thing. That's another thing. The next thing that people take out of context just doing damage is men only been able to have one wife. Listen, when you read that scripture in 1 Timothy, a bishop, he telling you who he talking to. Paul was talking to his preachers. And that wasn't even for our day. Y'all done gave these women so much advantage. You went from getting it anytime you want to you got married. Now you can't even get none to save your freaking life. And she wouldn't give you, some of y'all wives wouldn't give you some if they knew you was finna die. If they didn't, they still wouldn't. So you turning the other cheek, and you only got one wife that ain't being a wife. So basically, out of context teachings. Let me see something. Out of context teachings are keeping you from learning and from basically understanding what your cans and cannots are. But anyway, we're gonna do part 2 to this. Y'all know my rule. Once I get to 50 views, when I upload this, once I get to 50 views, we're going to do part 2. So stay tuned.